Welcome to this week's Nitty Gritty. We're excited. We have
super excited.
The GOAT and Betsy with us today.
I love
the
introduction. I love that you're calling him the GOAT. Can I tell you how that got started?
Yes, that was going to be one of my questions. Was how did this become?
It was 100%.
Do people know what the GOAT is, though?
I think everyone's learned it. Although I don't think
needed. Yeah, there's some people that still need that.
Greatest of all time.
Okay, wait.
He wants to make sure we understand why, what it stands for.
Exactly.
Like I'm called.
Like, does he eat paper?
Like I'm not called the GOAT. I'm called the greatest of all time, and I want you to make sure that that's what it is.
He literally, for a video, bought himself a GOAT shirt and told me a fan sent it to him. He's like, somebody just sent me this.
So the self-proclaimed GOAT.
Yes, 100%.
I had it going for a while, though.
Until I looked at Amazon. And I was researching the orders.
You got to get your own Prime account.
I know.
I did it a few years ago. It was the best decision I ever made. It's worth it.
That's when I was like, Gentry, you bought this for yourself, you idiot. No. But that's what actually made it funnier. So, and then all of a sudden people like, oh, no. So then my nephew thought it was hilarious that he'd buy himself his own GOAT shirt. So he sent him a GOAT mug. And then he was really proud that someone actually really sent him a GOAT item.
I'm going to send you some stuff now. I bet you start getting a lot of GOAT stuff. It's like the girl on The Bachelor the other night showed up with GOAT slippers.
Oh.
And got sent home. It was awesome. It's like, that's what you get for trying to be cocky.
That's right.
So, yeah, I watched The Bachelor. No big deal.
So thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, we're happy to
Betsy,
be here.
you came on. How long has it been? It's been a little bit since you and
Probably
Angie
like
came.
a year, honestly, because I swear it was
Well,
this
she
kind of
sent us 30 guests. And then So, it's been a while.
Not that many. But
The Godfather.
there's been a lot that's happened
Yeah.
since we chatted last.
Yeah.
And so before we jump into that, I want to talk a little bit, Gentry, because we learned that, well, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. You two now work together with Beddy's, right?
Yes.
Yep.
But Gentry, what did you do before? Because
Beddy's Beds.
Beddy's Beds,
Yep.
Just as a reminder.
as a reminder.
Greatest bedding of all time.
How long ago did you make that jump?
How long's it been? I can't even remember.
5 years.
5 years or something like that.
Okay.
Before that, I was selling cars, and I did that for a few years, and then before that, I had a electrical company, and then before that, I had a swimming pool company. So I've just
Wow.
kind of I just
were you
kind
selling?
of jumped around.
I sold cars.
Subarus.
Wow. We might have to talk because I kind of want a Subaru to drive to work. I want
got
like a fast
contacts.
little stick shift. It'll be fun,
Do
but
they
I
make
won't
those
fit.
anymore?
Yeah. Yes, Andrew.
Oh,
The rally ones.
there you go.
I just want something to go fast in. And I miss driving a stick shift. They're fun. But you're right. Nobody really knows that. Do you know how to drive one?
Yeah. I actually had a stick
Really?
growing up. Mm-hmm.
See, I think a lot of people did. I learned.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive until I got one.
Yeah, same.
I had to learn how to drive one in the hills of El Salvador.
Holy
Oh,
crap.
that's scary
that would
because then
not
you
be-
roll back down.
Yeah, and down there, all the cars are mini, but the car I was in was like a big Montero, like a big SUV, so I was like twice the size of everyone. Oh, it sucked. Oh my gosh, it sucked.
So Brent just sent me a little text as a reminder.
What?
52 weeks to the week that you were here last.
Are you
Really?
Wow.
I said, I'm like, it was kind of the same
1 year.
weather. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
That's a little weird.
That is
It's like
weird.
life was good. And then life went to crap.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, life
Life's
is still
still
good.
good.
It's still good. But there's a lot of crap.
And now you have a story that, everybody has a story,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Something they've overcome,
Yep.
but not many people have this one. I won't spoil it yet. But, so I guess that's the one positive, right?
Yeah. Got a story.
It is story doesn't do it.
So let's just jump into it.
Let's just jump in.
So what's crazy, I remember your story before you guys got on the plane. And like you had done a poll.
Yeah.
And it was like, should we go on this plane ride?
Yep.
And I remember kind of laughing at it because like you even made the comment like, oh, you guys don't care about us or something
You
like
don't
that.
care about our lives.
Yeah.
I actually pulled it down. Somebody called me and they're like, you've got to pull that story off while I was at the hospital.
Whoa.
So I deleted it.
I totally remember that. So if you don't know,
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's crazy.
He recorded the whole thing.
I saw that.
Which is weird. I don't even know why I was recording at the end. Like,
So-
I don't know because I was recording kind of the whole thing, and then at the end I kept recording. I'm like, what am I doing? We're
You've been
crashing.
trained. You've been trained.
Yeah, just
Listen, you guys have such good content. And that's the thing. I wish I was to the point where I could just second nature, like pull my phone out and start.
He does.
Right.
He does.
And it's good. I mean,
Something funny happens. He's got it already recorded.
that's awesome. Cause oh my gosh. I just remember the first time I actually watched when you guys posted the video.
Yeah.
I was like hyperventilating. You guys, anyway, I don't want to jump ahead, but
so how did we get to that point? I mean, you guys were friends with
Fields.
the Fields.
Uh-huh.
Had they invited you to go up in the plane before? Like, has that been something that they've been trying to convince you guys to do?
Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, Shad we went down there and stayed the night, and he's like, hey, let's go get in the plane. I was like, no, I'm not getting in that plane. He's like, come on. And then, nothing ever came of it. And then
We went down. So we were actually going down because our friends, I did a dating series with our friends for her YouTube channel. So I was
Okay.
going to go record it. And I'm like, I found one of the dates in Roosevelt. I'm like, that'll be fun. We'll go down there. We'll hang out with the Fields. You go on.
Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You found an attractive person in Roosevelt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ew.
kind of a
No, I'm from Heber, so
Okay.
we hate them. Sorry. Anyway, Shine Cosmetics. She's from there. We
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a whole
Darcy.
thing.
Yep.
Darcy. We had a whole
Yep.
thing about it. But
So we went down there for the date, and originally I would record all the dates, but they were going boating, and so they're like, Betsy, you just hang out here, and then we'll go. One of the friends that was on the date too, they're like, we'll record it. There's not enough people, or there's too many people on the boat. So I'm like, oh, sweet. We'll just go hang out with Shad and Jaslyn. So it was Gentry and I and my twin boys, Brock and Boston.
before all this, we were actually going to go boating.
Oh, yeah.
So the plan was to go boating, which I was okay with. Right. And then all of a sudden, at the last second, it kind of flipped because the weather was so nice. And
Chad's
it's
like, this is like the best weather.
Best time to do it.
So we're like, okay.
So why were you hesitant? Do you not like to fly normally?
No,
No.
I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of people breaking into my house. I locked my door in my bedroom because I'm so nervous. Because what am I going to do? Seriously.
we have to talk about guns.
No, I
before you
have one,
leave.
but it's
okay.
like,
He's still scared of
but
that.
still, like,
I'm scared of the gun. I
what
get
if I
it.
can't get to the gun and just,
I get
like,
it.
I'm going to get,
There's private security we could hire.
yeah, we should do that.
Just a guy like my size that knows Taekwondo. I just need one of those.
Just hangs
And
all the
has a
time.
gun all the time. Oh, like he can carry the gun. He wouldn't have fit on that plane though. But it's funny. Like I would never get on one of those planes. I've had 2 friends die in those planes.
Yeah.
Just a single engine.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, like, the only reason why I was super nervous, and I probably wouldn't have went in the plane if Shad wasn't the pilot.
Right.
Because Shad's just this guy. He's good at everything he does.
Well, he
everything
was good at the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's just good at everything he does.
he
So
was
it's
so
like you
calm.
immediately trust him.
Yeah.
And but this day kind of had a different outcome.
Well, it was still good though.
It's
It's a
fantastic.
good bad,
You guys are
right?
sitting here talking about it.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know, so
So we went up, and we were not up for very long. So I had done some stories in the air. I'm like, that's us.
Oh, it
you
was
know?
so pretty.
Yeah. And it was fun. Like, we were like having a good time. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was still gripping Jaslyn's
But it
leg.
was fun. But we were enjoying it.
Yeah.
Glad we went up when we were up there.
Yeah. Yep. So we'd come across the Uinta Mountains, and all of a sudden Shad's like, something's up. And Jaslyn is like, Shad, stop that. So it went, here's another crazy thing. So the front seat is Shad and then Gentry.
Yep.
And Jaslyn has never, they've owned 2 planes, and never in her life ever not sat in the passenger seat or that, co-pilot seat. But for some reason, Shad's like, nope, Gentry's sitting up there. And so then then Jaslyn and I sat in the 2 middle seats, and then Brock and Boston in the very back. So, where was I even going now?
Oh boy.
So we're having a good time. Shad's like, crap, there's something wrong. And so Jaslyn like reaches up and smacks him, and she's like, Shad, stop that. Because she's thinking he's teasing.
Messing around.
Yeah.
And he's
Because
like,
when you're
"No, I'm
looking at the
serious."
engine, you can't see that it's sputtering. Like, so all of us couldn't feel anything or see anything. But Gentry was recording. So now looking back at the film, not
You
film.
can see the
yeah.
propeller stopping.
Really?
And then
Yeah.
it starts back
Right,
up,
right.
and then it stops again.
Yeah. Yeah. So you,
And it's not like he was doing anything crazy.
No.
You know, like a lot of people like to blame, like they're being irresponsible, they're doing
Right.
stupid stuff. Like none
And
of that
that's-
stuff.
no. And the thing is,
Because I told him when we went up, I'm like, I don't want to do like any barrel rolls or anything else.
Right.
So I think he was being extremely cautious with us because there wasn't any of those.
Well, plus it was full, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you've got
he wouldn't do that anyways. But and like since then, people have commented, oh, he's an idiot. He didn't do blah 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 or didn't do. And he's like,
hate.
I feel bad for him actually because he's like, I did that. You know, and he's like, there's all these checklists for when I can't remember. He's like, but I didn't have any of those checklists, and he'd just done bush training like what 3 weeks before.
he was remarkably calm.
Yeah.
He was.
Like he
Yeah.
kept his cool, which was
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah, and so did we because
Oh,
do
the
you
whole
even
thing.
Understand?
No. That's what I was about to say before, where I stopped myself so we could tell the story. But everybody was.
Yeah, it's eerily calm.
It totally is. I would be losing my mind.
Well, that's not our
maybe not.
personalities.
No,
though. Our
because
personalities
I'm
are going to be
scared.
screaming.
I get
Yeah.
scared when I scare people. Like I know that I'm going to scare you, and I still get scared. I literally do. So that's the crazy thing, especially for me. But Gentry was so calm. He's the one who's like, "Be good, be good. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay."
Which doesn't seem like him.
No.
Not at all.
Kidding. He's so chill. Whatever.
Well, not during, no. And then Shad's like, "It's gonna be hard," and that's like right when it hit.
So like how long had you been up before something
10 minutes.
happened?
Like
Oh, you were just
yeah.
No, we've been up longer.
No. I think there's a certain amount of time that you have to be up high and then come down or something so that you don't vapor lock or whatever. And Shad's like, if you look at where I was, because he has all the trackers on his plane,
Yeah.
I was this for this long and this for this long. So I swear we hadn't been up for more than 20 minutes.
So where
though.
were you guys?
Yeah.
Like, where did you take off?
In Roosevelt.
Oh, in Roosevelt.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
That's your first problem.
Did we go over Skinwalker Ranch though?
So I was just gonna say, you're near Skinwalker Ranch.
I know. I've literally heard so many things.
I
So
don't
now
know
I'm like,
Skinwalker Ranch.
Shut your mouth.
crap happens.
You don't know
there.
what Skinwalker Ranch is?
No.
So they say it is the highest paranormal and extraterrestrial activity in the world, and it's just outside of Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Really?
Brandon Fugel owns it now, the real estate guy.
For real?
Yeah. Dude, they did federal studies out there. They were completely classified. Like you couldn't even get out there. It's like 300 acres. And it's like they say it all spawns from a Indian curse. Skinwalkers are a Navajo or no, Ute or Navajo, something or other. But dude, you Google, like I'm getting the chills right now.
I know. Literally, so many people have told me scary things, and I was like,
Oh, it's wild.
Did we go over it? I actually don't know.
We didn't.
Okay.
Well, but they
Thanks.
say it's that whole basin, that whole Uinta Basin. Like
Yeah.
they say it's anyway. I just watched a really lame show about it. There are better ones than I watched, but yeah, Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. He's had quite
Really?
a few people on it to talk, and they've talked about it.
Never
But
heard of it. Huh.
so Roosevelt, and it was a gorgeous day.
Beautiful.
Right.
So we crashed. Right. We had just come over Moon Lake, and as we're coming across the mountain, is when you can hear him in the video saying something's up, and we hadn't even gotten to the lake yet, and he had to fly across the lake and then land on the side.
Right.
And okay, so this is kind of a crazy story, but he's like, it's as if somebody slapped me across the face. Like that's how loud and clear it was. Don't land in the sand, you'll flip and kill the boys.
Right.
So he knew he had
That's
to
what
land.
Shad said.
Somebody said to him, like, he's like, I heard a voice that said, and
Because that would probably be your first gut
Exactly. That's what
reaction
he
is
said.
That's
He-
where you would go.
that's what he said. He's like, he was planning on doing that, and a voice said, don't land there, you'll flip and kill the boys. So he landed just above it. And so it was on a hill. So that's why the engine came in a little bit more on Gentry's side. It's just so it was on Gentry's side where,
Yeah. On
the
everything.
passenger side?
Yeah. So crazy. So the thing is they both suffered spinal cord injuries. Shad, in fact, still doesn't have filling in his legs. He doesn't have bowel and bladder. Like you don't realize. So Gentry had more like injuries that were like visible, but Shad is like the true champion that nobody realizes. Like he is going on like nothing's wrong with him. Like he's just the coolest guy. And he, like, you don't think about it. Like he has to use a catheter to go to the bathroom, like all those things that we just think are great every day is super hard for him,
Right.
So
Anyway,
what was it like? I mean, when he first says that, and you guys, like, when did it click that something was happening? Like, for you guys, like,
right away, I thought we were landing though. I just thought, oh, we're landing. And I just remember grabbing the seat in front of me and just closing my eyes. Like, I just don't want to see the land, that's all like I was prepping for.
Well, where you guys were was really lucky too. Because, I mean, if you're up over the Uintas, there's
done.
a dang good chance that you're just over trees.
Yeah.
Trees and trees and trees and trees.
Yeah.
And like the fact that there was a clearing and a lake.
That we didn't land in the lake.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
And people at the lake.
you guys.
Holy crap. In the Uintas. So I've spent a lot of time in the Uintas. Like, it is so remote up. Like,
people go there to get away from everyone.
totally. Like, I remember going up there. Like, we had horses growing up. And we'd go, like, we would ride horses like 2 days back up into the Uintas. And it's like, you wouldn't see another human. You'd see some, like, weird ranger pop out somewhere that lives in some hut way at the top of the hill during the summer. And it's like, he's creepy. But it's crazy remote up there. It's beautiful, but I mean, the fact that you guys were where people were.
Oh, they came running. Like, so many people came running. There were 3 ambulances up there doing a training. Like, what are the odds? Because
Holy crap.
Gentry's bleeding internally, and they were able to do a blood pressure cuff, and seeing that his blood pressure's dropping, his heart rate's going up. They know that that's bad. And one of the campers, who is an EMT, he's the one who gave him the IV, which is
One
what
of the
saved
campers was an
Yes.
EMT.
and his daughter. You guys, he wouldn't have even made it for Life Flight if this guy wasn't there. Like, Life Flight wouldn't have come fast enough for him. He ended up having 10 blood transfusions. It kind of crazy. So
So we're never going to Roosevelt ever again. See, people, you just want to stay
Until
away-
next
Just
week.
Kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
You should tell them your perspective, like when we hit. What did you do at that point? Because I was out. I have no idea what
Yeah,
happened.
I want to hear both of that. Just like, I can't imagine sitting in a plane
And having that much time to process that it's happening.
but seeing it, you know what I mean? And, like,
Yeah.
seeing it and hearing it, and
And we'll post a link with this because you can watch
Yeah.
the whole thing
Yeah.
from inside the plane.
Yep. So the phone, Gentry's recording from his phone. The phone flew back, and Brock, my son, grabbed it. And his phone, he didn't know where it was. He had lost it. But then Brock was trying to dial 911, and I took a second, I think, to come to, but I thought it was immediately. But Jaslyn, like, you know how you hear things afterwards. Jaslyn's telling me that I'm trying to climb over the seat to get to Gentry. She's like, "Can't you go out the door?" And then I think that's when I came to, and then I went out the door.
so, like, how long before you hit? Like how long were you guys like?
Seconds or
Well, we know there
Okay.
was like
10
12
to 12
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah, but before that, he realized there was something wrong. It was probably 40 seconds.
Okay,
So you
So
have literally less
than a minute
for him to
when
decide.
everything's just great, enjoying an awesome flight, to we're
Yep.
going down.
Once we were going down, it was 12 seconds. Yeah. So
Jeez.
I ran around the side to go get Gentry because the doors automatically open on impact, but Shad's took a second to get open. I don't know. Anyways, Gentry was upside down laying outside of that door. And so when I went up to him, he was unconscious. I'm trying to feel his, for his pulse, and I couldn't feel a pulse. And holy crap. I wasn't,
How did you even know to do that?
it was just like, I just had to check on him,
Yeah.
So all I could think of was, my son was in the Nutty Putty Cave movie. And so I remember he died upside down. And so I just didn't want him to be upside down. So I just grabbed him and was holding him and just telling him to breathe. I'm screaming for the people I see coming.
And during this point, our other son, Brock, is trying to break the glass of the plane to try to help get me out.
Open the door
He
wider
takes
to-
off his shirt and is like,
Wow.
"Give this to Dad," because I was bleeding everywhere. But
And Boston was over helping Jaslyn. Jaslyn was, she'd broken her arm and I think was going into shock too. So anyways, this guy, Josh, who I actually met afterwards, he helped hold Gentry, and I'm like, we've got to get him out of here. And all I could think of was, this plane's going to start on fire. We got to get him out. I'm like yelling. I'm like, I don't care if you rip his legs off, get him out. Like, I just didn't want him to burn, and we couldn't get him out without getting Shad out. And Shad's like, I can't feel my legs. So,
Shad is with it.
Yeah.
he's 100%
and
with it.
there is
and
some
he-
audio of him, which is like when I saw the video that was taken once the crash happened, and he's worried about everybody but himself. He's saying sorry to me. You know, he's like, I'm sorry, Gentry. I'm like, he's not even thinking about himself, but he can't feel his legs.
Yeah.
It was, hearing that video was like, wow, that was hard.
And this is from other people who were at the crash. They were recording stuff, and I got it, I think like a week later when I met with Josh. He gave me all that video. But so I'm just trying to get him out of there. And then I could start hear him gurgling. So I'm like, I know he's alive. Like, we just got to get him out of here now. So
Is that the first time you thought that he was going to make it?
no, I actually didn't think he would still.
Okay.
So, but I know how like anxious he gets with brakes and all of that. And I could see his legs were broken, you know, you can see him like turn like a candy cane.
Oh.
So anyway, so as he's there, he can answer me. He can just be like, yeah. And so I'm like, can you feel your legs? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do they hurt? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, don't worry. I think there might be a little break. Like, I'm just trying to tell him, because I'm like, if he knows that they're really broken, he's going to freak out. So I'm just trying to lie to him and just be like, that's good. I'm like, your back hurts. I'm like, that's good. That means you have feeling. Like, I'm just trying to tell him all these things that
That's pretty amazing that you had that.
To stay calm.
no,
and
I
be able to
wasn't
do-
that good. I thought I was. And then Josh tells me, he's like, I knew you weren't completely normal. First of all, I couldn't see below my eyes. So I couldn't see, like, if you put your hands under your eyes,
Right.
that was my vision. I couldn't see, like, my shoes. I'm like, where are my shoes? They're like, they're right there. But I'm like, can you help me put them on? I can't see them. So he's like, but I knew you weren't 100%. Because everyone there, they didn't know I was in the accident. Because
Oh,
I was
really?
acting fine. Yeah. But he's like, every time we'd ask Gentry a question, you'd answer for him. I'm like, well, that's not different than normal.
I kind of don't even know why I'm here.
No. So anyways, the fact that there were EMTs, the EMT's daughter was there, everyone that was just coming to help, they had to have, I don't know how many guys to help pull Shad out because they didn't want to injure him anymore to get him out.
So all the impact went right basically to your side, right, Gentry?
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of how it hit, because the hill and the way you went down.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys were in the back. I mean, were they just able to jump out?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So Boston has a fractured hip, but didn't need anything. Like, it was if nothing happened. Like,
Okay.
he was that good. I mean, Brock, they were sore. Don't
They had
get me wrong.
bruises all
Oh,
over.
for
Yeah,
sure.
bruises, sore, all of that, but not like,
But what people didn't understand is that Betsy broke almost every rib,
Oh my God.
and she had a bulged disc in her neck, and she had a head injury. But she was so concerned about everybody else at that point that people didn't even know. And if you've ever had a broken rib,
Oh,
You can't even breathe, just one.
just moving or coughing,
Yeah.
it's terrible. But I don't know how she did it, because
adrenaline's a powerful drug.
Yeah,
That's
it is
true.
100%. Because I didn't realize anything hurt until after he was life flighted away, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh crap, my neck or my ribs," or
Well, mama bear instincts too. I mean, that
Yeah.
stuff's real. I mean,
yeah,
just immediately thinking about, even you just talking about like, yeah, you got a little break, and oh, good, you can feel the pain. That's good. It's like, holy crap. I mean, that's amazing.
I was really worried about them giving him blood too, because I'm like, he's O positive, you guys. And then I was also worried because he's bleeding everywhere. That
Right.
I didn't want the people who were helping to be worried, because I'm like, he just donated blood. I know his blood's clean, okay? Like, I just don't want you to be panicked that he's got hepatitis or like any blood diseases,
I mean, do you remember kind of like seeing, like, are you ever going to forget like what that visual was like, going around like seeing him like?
No, like that's the scariest part, is like, I feel like even for a few months I was okay. And it's like, now I remember it and I'm just scared of it.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would be like to see that.
Yeah.
And
I'm just like, I even look back to a few months ago. I'm like, how the crap did I get through that? Because now I'm more scared than I was then,
Yeah.
Have you flown in like a commercial plane since?
Yeah, we did a couple weeks ago.
And how was that?
I thought I was fine. I was like, my kids, because we were going to plan a trip with the family. I'm like, you guys, we survived one plane crash. Why would we go
yeah.
die in another,
What the odds of a second plane? Like, how many people?
I don't want to
have
know,
gone to?
because all honestly,
Right, you're
I
right. I'm
tend
sorry,
to
I'll shut up.
I'm just kidding. No, but so I thought I was going to be fine. I get on the plane and our seats were that I was behind Gentry, and it just like triggered that memory of being
yeah.
behind him, and so scared again,
Oh wow.
you know?
Yeah.
So that was awful.
And didn't some of the people that were on the beach, it looked like the plane was just kind of like
Hovering
floating down, right?
Yep.
Which is, I mean,
We added.
that's not normal.
Wasn't
No.
there a story about, didn't somebody see like they thought really saw angels or something like that?
That's the crazy thing is you know how you feel something while you're there and you see things that you think are there. But then to hear people but also I had a concussion, but then to hear from people you don't even know, like this one girl wrote this Instagram post.
That's what I think I'm referring to.
Yeah.
I think I read, I mean, it sounded a little, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but maybe a little kooky, but it definitely was like real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it was very
It
genuine.
is if I don't know, because I
Maybe
probably
I'm-
wouldn't have believed me because I'm like, oh, we were saved. There's all these miracles, which is what I felt inside. But then when somebody
there are a lot of
else
miracles.
wrote that, then I was like, oh my gosh, she saw it too.
So what did she
Wasn't
write?
she down? Was this one of the people that was down? I swear somebody wrote something that was there.
Yeah,
Like
she
on the
was there.
ground.
She
Okay.
was, yeah.
Right.
And she talked about watching it come down. She's like, it's a really cool one. And we actually asked her to read what she wrote.
Right.
We wanted to hear her voice and we added that to the video. And I feel like that was she covered it exactly. Like he doesn't know what it was like because he was unconscious, for a few days. But
Didn't she say that she felt like somebody was just like
carrying it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
That's the
really,
one I
you
read.
guys, I don't know. I used to be weird about that kind of stuff. Like, oh,
See,
it's
I'm
your
not weird
miracle.
about
It's your, but I'm like, oh, miracles.
like-
like it doesn't happen that 3 ambulances were doing a training
crazy.
and got there in minutes. Like it took Life Flight an hour and 45 minutes to get there. He would have died. He was bleeding. Like he had 2
If people
femur
don't realize
fractures.
how far away this is from
No.
everything.
And the fact that we had anybody there. And this is another crazy story. I know people are going to be like, is this believable? But we had a lady call my daughter and let her know that we were in a plane crash. And my daughter didn't answer because she didn't know the number. But when she listened to the voicemail, she's like, call me back. Your family's been in a plane crash. She hung up from the voicemail and she's like, a voice just she's like, I felt somebody grab my shoulder and this voice just said, your dad's going to be okay, which she was confused with because she didn't know. So she's like, well, is everyone dead and my dad's only going okay? Like what happened, So she actually feel like she knew he was going to be okay. And I didn't for the whole time. Like, you have
So
people
she was
come.
able to maybe help
Yeah.
you a little bit.
Yeah.
Once you guys
Well,
started
no, I
talking.
was just like, Alyssa, you don't know, you weren't there. Because I was just so scared. Like that's my
Right.
biggest fear. I don't know if you know this, but we are inseparable. Like we don't go anywhere without each other. So I'm like, this is it. It's like I can't,
So when he went away on the Life Flight, were you thinking this is it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I was so upset when they wouldn't let me see him at the hospital. I'm like, he doesn't know what happened. And I can't let him know that I left him.
Yeah.
So
Gentry, what was the last thing you remember, from your perspective?
Just coming down. And then once we hit, I was done. I don't remember anything until waking up a few days later in the hospital.
But
And
you do still remember coming down.
Yeah.
but it wasn't until he saw the video he remembered.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Because when they told him he was in a plane crash, he's like, I didn't even know I was in a plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was so confused. But I was on all sorts of different drugs and everything like that. So I didn't really know what was going on. In fact, the first time I woke up, I didn't even know where I was. I was just like, I feel like I'm in pain. I'm scared. I don't know where I am. And I'm in the hospital, but I have no idea, So that was really one of those moments when you wake up and you don't know where you are. You're like, this is really scary. So
Well, even you thought, you're like, am I going to die? Is this it?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm in all this pain and I don't know where I'm at.
I know. And then things run through your head because we met when we were 13. And so I'm like, did we meet really young so we would have more of a life together?
Oh,
and then this is
gosh.
it's just
Wow.
crazy things you start thinking
Right.
because you're like, is this the end? It
You
was
guys met when you were 13?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I feel like we need to explore
I kissed her
that a
the
little
first
bit
day I
more.
met her. Yeah.
That's why he's the GOAT.
You really are the GOAT. Wow.
Yeah. She loved it.
People are going to be really mad if we don't talk about that. Remember, we've been told many times, whenever a love story comes up, you explore that. Because we do. We have 80% female listeners. And
That is funny.
did you guys date?
Yeah.
at that
So my
point?
best friend and his best friend were going out. So he asked me out. We were 13. I was going into 7th grade.
Right.
And then our friends broke up, but then we just stayed together. Mm-hmm. And we did break up for 1 year in high school.
Shut your mouth.
It was the worst year.
What?
So
Wait,
not-
so you guys met when you were 13 and there was only 1 year you weren't a
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And then you got married. What the hell? That's like the most romantic thing I've ever freaking heard.
That's what I'm saying is we're glued at the hip. And in fact, one of the girls I work with, she goes, Betsy, I was so worried that he wasn't going to make it because I know how hard that would be on you. She's like, but then I thought with COVID, you got that extra time with him. So
With
everyone
everything-
knows.
With everything that happened, it's like, I mean, obviously being there, you would never think like this, but I mean, I've been watching the video over and over, and how the hell did he not choose the sand? Because it's not just small sand; it's like this
Big
big
sand.
open
But there were people on
clearing.
If you,
and it's
that's
right.
He probably would have hit somebody.
But the fact that there's that big of a sage clearing
Yeah.
in the Uintas,
I know. It's
holy
insane.
crap! Like, it's insane. Like, it is so.
Because if you look at
It's
where
so
we
lucky.
were before, we all would have died.
Oh, 100%.
We were so lucky to be where we were.
Well, it's funny. You just look at the, like, past the clearing. Like, that's what the Uintas looks like. It's just like trees just everywhere. And
Yeah.
so it's so cool that he had that.
So, Gentry, how long were you in the hospital then?
I was in the hospital for about a month, right?
And
Yep.
I mean, I remember, Betsy, you posted a picture and you were unrecognizable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is not the person that I'm sitting across from here today. I mean, that is wild.
So many surgeries. That's the other thing. We got so lucky with the doctors there. I had messages like, oh my gosh, if he has a back injury, you need this doctor. We got him. And those are people that were there that I have no choice. I'm in the hospital in Roosevelt. He's at Utah Valley. And to come, people are telling me you've got to get these doctors. And I'm like, I don't have any choices. It's whoever's there. And those people were there. Kind of cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That
I
is
mean,
amazing.
But look at his face. I mean, really,
It's beautiful.
it was
I used to be an 11. Now I'm just a 10. No, but the whole side of my face is just completely
plates.
numb.
It's all plates.
So it's
Right now it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you go to the dentist and it's like this side of my face is numb. So I'm like, sometimes I'll drool a little bit. and-
No, he does not.
That was the greatest line. I used to be 11. Now I'm a 10. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, what was the hospital like? So, I mean, you were there because of Corona by yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no visitors allowed, so you're kind of just there.
Yeah, and that was kind of scary because I don't know where I am a lot of the times because I'm just so. But once I got to the point where it's like Betsy was like, you've got to get him off of this, you've got to get him off of that, because it was just making me crazy in the hospital.
He thought he was at a reservation, and he's like, "Hey, I got to tell you how to get here. I'm at the reservation." And then he thinks he's staying at one of the nurses' houses.
Then I think I'm in a drug house at one point.
yeah,
I mean, and I
scary.
asked, I'm like, am I in a different room every day? And I swear the nurse said yes. I was like, that
No,
just played with my mind. But I wasn't. I was in the same room the whole time, but
Right.
my mind was just going crazy.
That's wild.
So, what all happened to you? Like, what was the extent of the injuries?
Oh my gosh! I can't. Why don't you say? Because you know,
He
I don't
doesn't
even
know.
know. I
That's
don't
why
even
he-
actually know what bones I broke in my back. I was at NeuroWorks for physical therapy, and somebody's like, "Well, so what? Where did you break in your back?" And I couldn't even remember what it was. T12, right?
yeah. But you have C1. He had a C1 fracture, which is the very top, and had that he would have been paralyzed. That's like the Christopher Reeves injury.
Jeez.
T12, and then L5. So but the spinal cord injury was at T12.
Yeah.
So and
But that was just some
yes,
of the
yes.
injuries.
And then he broke his femur in two spots. So the middle of his leg, and then also where that little ball is that connects into your pelvis. His pelvis was 50% up into his spine. He broke his tibia, fibula. It was a compound fracture. So that's
Right.
what I saw, and I'm like, where the bones are sticking out. But I was like, it's a small break to him.
I've seen one of those. Not pretty.
It's terrible. Terrible. He, let's see.
Was it all right? All right
Nope.
leg?
No.
This was both.
Both.
Okay.
Tib fib on his left, femur on his
Femur.
right. So it's
Two
like he
breaks in the
couldn't
femur.
use any of his legs. he couldn't hobble or anything because he just can't put weight for 3 months. His face, he had to have 2 surgeries, like one to put his face back together, but then the other one to lift his eye up because
Right.
it was sinking down.
Wow.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
Pretty much it.
You did break a rib, they said. Remember?
really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how could you not break a rib in a
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
impact?
I'm sure.
I mean, ribs are made to break. I mean, that's
Yeah.
and they heal back stronger, but
Do
it
they though?
is they do. Like if you x-ray your rib, like where you broke it, you'll see a deposit around it.
Really?
Like ribs are amazing. Like
That's
they
awesome.
really are made to like absorb and break,
They told me
and then they kind of rebuild. They heal different than any other bone in our body. Like
well, they told me
pretty
6
awesome.
to 8 weeks, and they were hurting like for
Oh,
like till just barely.
Was it did you have dislocations too, or all just breaks?
Just 7 breaks.
Just 7 breaks.
So you broke 7 ribs,
Mm-hmm.
and then what
Same
else?
side, 2 sides.
Both sides, 3 on
Wow.
one side, 4 on
Oh,
the other.
see, and that's the other. Just man.
There was I did bruise my lung, and then something bulge disc in my neck. I think that was
A
all.
head injury.
Oh yeah, I had a concussion.
Well, thank goodness the boys were in the back too.
No kidding.
Like that's so. I watched a thing the other day, and I shouldn't have watched it because I only fit in one part of an airplane. That's the front. But yeah, they say you're like, what is it? Almost 3 times as likely to survive a commercial airliner crash if you're in the back half of the plane.
Really?
Oh, really?
But I don't care.
Well, there you go.
You need that leg room.
Yeah, I'm still sitting in the front. But you just wonder I wonder if it's the same with, because like you said, the engine's in the front and the dash, and
That's why he lost his teeth, his
Right.
face. Oh yeah, he's got fake teeth, and he has to
Who
wait.
doesn't
Well, he
nowadays,
has
you
to
know?
wait till like 3 more months so it'll be like a 9-month process to
well,
get
you'll
those
be a
fake
10 and a
teeth.
half then. Once that's
Yeah,
done,
that's what I'm waiting for.
you'll kind of start creeping back. Holy crap.
So
And then what happened with Shad?
Mm-hmm.
What happened with him? Like, what was his final thing?
So his is just the spinal cord.
Okay.
So not just, but that's the worst. I feel like the worst one.
Yeah.
We're all so lucky.
Jasmine
Grateful.
broke her wrist.
Yeah, she like crumbled it. So her wrist was very similar to his, like tib fib, like just
Okay.
that kind of crumbled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are the boys having any effects at this point?
They slept in our room for a while because they
Like
were
4
at night.
months.
They would wake up screaming, and so it was hard on
It'd
them.
be hard on a young guy, on a
Yeah.
young kid. Like that'd be really
Well,
hard.
I can't imagine seeing
Well, and then
like
they
one
were,
experiencing it and surviving it, but 2 like the emotional impact of seeing your mom
Yeah.
and dad.
right.
Yep.
Like-
How just the shirt thing, like the frame of mind. It is. Our brains are amazing, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah,
Just
and they
what we kick, that gear that people kick into, and I mean, even a teenage boy, right?
yeah He
Throwing
was-
a shirt up and
Well, they were trying to call the boys away and have them, because I remember I'm like, where are Brock and Boston? I was like
Right.
with him, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, where are Brock and Boston? They're like, we want him over there. I'm like, okay, because I was trying to call him over to me because I just wanted him by me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
right.
So
Well, which one of them? I was just watching part of the video. Which one was it? Brock or Boston that got the phone out and was
Brock.
Brock? Like that was pretty smart too.
Yeah.
Like he was filming all the people that were helping him, and
Yeah, they told them to do
Awesome.
that for insurance, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think they were trying to distract
sidetrack my
the
kids.
boys, which was such a good move.
Like, oh, you should go record. Go record.
well, and I always make fun of it. I was just like, seriously, put your phone away, experience things. But then you look at that, you're like, I'm so glad that he was doing that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just, I need to.
I think
Maybe
they're-
that will be the thing that finally gets me over. Like, just record things.
Yeah.
No, but
Shut up.
but I almost think the opposite. I'm like, why? First of all, why was I recording the crash? Like that is if anybody else had done that, I'd have been like, what is he? Why would they record that?
Right.
But I'm like, I don't,
don't
even
think
know
we
why.
thought we were crashing. I think we thought we were landing like in a different area.
You thought it was just going to be like a rough landing.
That's what I thought, honestly. Otherwise, I think I would have freaked out more. But Shad was so calm, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I would have done the same thing. Like
Yeah.
he was calm, like there was a clearing, like
and had it
to
been
record
flat,
this.
guess what? We might have all walked away. Really, that's how great of a job Shad did.
yeah.
he did do it. We need to get him in here.
Yeah, you do.
So-
They're
They're both
freaking
great.
hilarious. They're the coolest people you'll ever meet.
They seem really fun. He can't feel his legs, but are they moving?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing is he looks normal. Like he
Oh, so he can walk and all that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
He doesn't complain, but he has to wear braces to keep his feet because he can't.
He has drop foot.
So does he.
My best friend has that. He's had it. So my best friend, Andrew, wrecked a dirt bike when we were 15. He went through a fence, fib-tib, same thing, compound fracture. They put an infected rod in his leg.
No.
It fried, the infection was so bad, it fried his equilibrium. So if it's dark, he'll tip over.
No
Like
way.
we used to go to haunted houses. He's
Really?
a big dude like me. And we'd go to a haunted house like on a date in high school, you know, not him and I on a date, okay, with 2 girls. And anytime it was dark, I just knew to like bear hug. Like I had to walk him like the mall walk the kids used to.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to do that. And so he has this really nasty scar, this big indented scar. And then he has drop foot. So he's had it since he was 15 and he's always had to wear a brace. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Not comfortable.
No.
So,
Not.
so do they expect yours to start coming back?
They just don't even know.
Right.
They're just like, you just kind of hope for the best. But
Right.
yeah, if that's like the only thing.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like whatever. But you never know. With spinal cord injuries, like things are so different with every single person.
Sure.
It could come back tomorrow, or it could come back in 10 years, or never. You know. So that's what's so.
Well, you have
hard.
a pretty awesome attitude about it. Like, have you always kind of felt like this? Like, have you been this?
No, I honestly, I think we're just grateful that we're here.
Right.
Like we're grateful to be alive. Like I think that's the biggest thing because it's like, well, I'm not in my prime anymore. Like I'm not playing all the sports I used to play. So
Wait, can we laugh at that?
I'm being serious. But like I don't do stuff like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still think I can golf. I think golfing's going to be fine, but
Hey, my best
we
friend,
can
he's
golf
a
still
dang
for
good
sure.
golfer.
yeah.
Dang good golfer.
So if I can do that, I'm pretty happy.
Right.
Has this changed perspective on anything for you guys?
For sure. For sure. I think it's like you kind of make deals like, if he'll live, then I'll be good or I'll do, I don't know.
You're just the cutest person in the world. Do you know that?
She is.
She is just the best.
I'm an emotional wreck.
No, you're
You
not.
guys, sorry.
Anybody would be. You're just a sweetheart.
I feel like I
think it's
used
so
to be
cool.
better. I feel like I'm getting worse emotionally, huh?
No, I just think it's just things
so
are hitting you
normal.
differently, which is
Yeah.
totally fine.
Well, and that's the thing. It's got to be such a process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I'm sure none of it will go away, but
Yeah.
I mean, what a bonding story! Like, what I think that it's so important for. I always look at these types of things like the whole world's a puzzle. It's God's puzzle, right?
Uh-huh.
Like just how the ambulances were up there, like the puzzle pieces were in the right spot. But you guys are a very visible family, right? Like you guys do so much with YouTube and so many people love you guys. And these are the types of things that we need we need the stories of humanity and angels, and we need to be reminded that that's all real because life's hard.
And I think
Yeah.
you guys have done such a cool job of
Really?
being willing to share those types of things.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why you recorded, in my opinion. I mean, it's just my thought, but you watch that and you just kind of see, especially right now, it's so easy to just not like anybody.
Yeah.
Like we're all sick of each other. Everyone's on edge.
Yeah.
Like it's just so, and for some reason that EMT that had like the big handlebar mustache that was over Brock when he was recording, just like you just see that face and he's smiling.
Like they
and-
were also
Well, that's what I'm saying.
so
Like
awesome.
there are some really amazing. There are some really good humans out there, and way more than there are bad.
Yep.
And when you watch something like that, you're reminded that some scary dude on the freeway that you're looking at with the handlebar mustache.
Is the first
He
to
could-
run and help you.
Exactly. And so again, like these stories, like you've reached hundreds of thousands of people and reminded them of that. And if that's all that plane crash did, that's a huge deal,
Yeah.
you know? Anyway, my perspective, but so cool.
Do you guys do anything differently now? Whether it's as a couple, as a family, because of the crash.
I think we are like, if Gentry gets nervous about something now, we like listen way more. And, like, but do you know what another like?
You should have done that the whole time.
Lock the door, damn it.
No, but it was like, even like when he was still in the hospital, my kids would clean up all the time, like dinner or whatever. And I remember one day I'm like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for cleaning up. I didn't even have to tell you. And I'm like, wow, since the plane crash, you guys have like been way more helpful. And they're like, well, we always noticed it before, but we figured you need more help now. Like, it was cute. You know, so they've been like, you start to see, like, I think our kids saw how like low and scared I was. And so I wasn't just like, you know, Mom, everything's okay. You know, when they saw Gentry wasn't okay and then I wasn't okay because he wasn't okay, like they had to step up. And it's sounds crazy, but it's been good for them.
Had to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, things like that would definitely make you grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome story to tell. But yeah, and them seeing your guys' relationship, and I mean, that's got to be such a cool thing
It
for
is.
them to see.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot more I love yous and hugs and things that
Yeah, you
you
don't
just
take
kind
it
of
for
wish.
granted.
But you know, when you just go through life, you forget sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think this is good for us to kind of like, okay, what's really important and what isn't, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
They let us have visitors at the end at the hospital while he was there. And
She had to,
I think I remember.
don't say that.
yeah.
She just
She just
No, no.
This is
Almost
pretty
there,
normal.
just with the finger up.
finger shift him.
And you notice that I stopped really quick. Okay.
No, but
He
I
tells me what I can and
No,
can't
when
do.
he can
You
have
are trained very
Yeah.
well.
no, when
Very
he can
trained.
have visitors.
I sit down when I go to the bathroom as a her. Okay. No, go ahead.
Because we have a warm toilet seat.
That's right.
Just
I
kidding.
wouldn't, yeah.
Okay, so, but the kids, so I got to bring one visitor in with me, and all the kids wanted to obviously go in, but they knew Brock was having the hardest time because he was the one with me and Gentry, and so they let him come in first. Like, I thought that sounds so dumb, but even just that the kids could see the needs of each other. So I don't know. I think they start to realize like and see outside of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, would you guys ever get in another small plane again?
Nope.
No.
I can't even.
But Shad's crazy. He's thinking about buying another one. I'm like,
Shay, until you can afford a jet, just
yeah, I know. That's
No
I said,
more.
make sure there's
Jet
at least
engine.
a parachute on it. So
It was so crazy because if you watch the YouTube video, I was like, I was asking for a parachute, and he's like, a parachute's not going to help.
yeah.
And then that,
yeah.
so
Wow. I get the love of like people that fly love to fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good friend in Spanish Fork. I worked for him after my mission. One of the best guys I've ever known, and just little single engine. Actually, I meant to ask that. So, do we know now what happened with the plane?
no, and they don't know
Like
if they'll know
what the-
for a while because
Really?
of COVID, and they're
Oh.
not doing all the research or whatever.
Investigation or
Investigation.
whatever.
Oh, so mechanically they don't know yet. Wow.
No.
See, that's the other thing. Like those planes basically have. I mean, it's a combustion engine, right? It's like what we have in our cars, and it's like
That
if your
goes
car
out.
stalls, like that happens, but you're not 2,000 feet in the sky.
Yeah.
So that's scary. It's like if there's not a jet on that plane, I'm out.
Yeah.
Man.
Or a parachute.
Yeah, or a parachute. But see, I don't even think you were high enough to be able to parachute, right?
No.
So I don't know. Like that's
What's been like the most unexpected outcome from this? Whether it be kind of good or bad, like it's something that you maybe wouldn't have expect that's come from it.
We can't. For us, I think we can't believe how many people have reached out to us trying to give us something or do something for us or just show us love. Like we didn't even have a clue about the people that would come to us and say, "Hey, can I help?" Like there are so many people are so good, and even people we hadn't seen in years.
right.
They wanted to know how we were doing. They cared enough to even, call us or text us. And for us, that's like, oh my gosh, people are genuinely good.
They're awesome.
And guess what? You also have to learn the lessons in your life too. So my lesson was I hated bringing dinner to people. I'm like, this is so stupid. Why are we bringing dinner to people? Like, you're probably going to throw it away because I'm a crappy cook. So why are we doing this? This is so stupid. There's Chick-fil-A. There's pizza down the, like, whatever. Go grab that. for 9 months you're going to have a baby. Why are you not prepping? Like that was my mentality, and it's terrible.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden, all these people brought dinner over, and it wasn't just the food, you guys. It was like the fact that they were.
It was the thought.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I will make meals for whoever needs them now. Because you realize,
Chick-fil-A.
I know,
You don't need to make.
you realize,
That's
well,
all right.
you realize what it means that
Right.
like they just took time out of their day. I hate making dinner for myself, let alone for somebody else.
Well, but that right there
You
tells
know?
you everything, right? Like when you're struggling with something, you already hate making it,
Yeah.
and everybody does, especially when you're a mom and you have kids, and it's like there's nothing better than. It's amazing that's one of my favorite things to do here. Like as soon as I see somebody on social media or whatever is going through something, it's just like, when can I bring dinner? When can I bring dinner?
And you don't understand how much that means to that person. Like I'd be gone to the hospital or I'd be gone for something, and then like you're just exhausted and come home and somebody was bringing dinner. Like I don't know. I
That's
just
a
like
big
have a
deal.
new thing that I'm like, okay, I had to learn that that's actually a really nice thing to do for
Yeah.
people.
It really
I think
is.
something else that does is I think that reflects the kind of people you are, and you won't want to admit it, but you're the kind of people that you love people enough that they love you that much that they're willing.
Well, that's
To
nice
go
You
out
to
of
don't know
say.
that people love you?
No, you guys are not.
Well, once they get to know us, then true colors
Whatever.
come out.
How can you not love you guys?
But I think what that just shows you, like the strength of the relationships that you have, right? Which
Right.
I don't think a lot of people do have that, or we're trying to get better at that. And so I think that's also a reflection. They are awesome, but also a reflection on who you guys are.
Well, and it's so important for people to be accepting of that help, because I love what's that saying that I always, it's like one of the only quotes I remember. He's the quote person, but it's like, don't rob people of their opportunity to give.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
last law of the go-giver is receptivity.
oh yeah. Well, see, that's a big word. I wouldn't have remembered that. But yeah, I mean, you have to. It's so funny how sometimes the most helpful and sweet people are the most hard-headed about accepting help.
Yeah.
And like I said, like that story or what happened, I mean, it's got to be so hard for people to put meaning to hard things and difficult things that have happened in their lives. But you just, if that was the only thing that you got out of it, was just how everybody rallied to help. Like that.
We got to see the good in everybody. Like how
And
you
we
were,
need that now,
like
right?
I got to firsthand, like I feel kind of bad because I got to see it all. Like these people that came from everywhere in our life that just showed up for
Right.
us. But one other thing I do have to say is like you can't get the miracle of surviving a plane crash without having to go through a plane crash,
Right.
So you don't like anytime somebody has something great in their life, they also had to go through something really terrible to get there, because
sure.
you just, I don't know.
Perspective.
Yeah. So with everything, like you don't, even the successes at work, like we had to go through so many crappy days and days where we're like, we're never going to make it to get to where we are. And we're so excited,
Right.
but it makes the success, it makes the miracle all that much cooler.
Yeah.
So how'd your daughter, I mean, we talked a little bit about, what's your daughter's?
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Oh my gosh. So that had to be so hard for her to hear all that and be that far away. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you were coming in to Utah Valley. So where did she go
So
once she found out?
she actually wasn't with us because she was shooting a YouTube video with her boyfriend's family.
Okay.
And he's on a mission, but so they actually had come to pick her up, and she'd gotten the call that we were in a plane crash. And I was able to call her at this point. I think I was in the
But
ambulance.
she was fielding all the calls from the doctors. Like,
Yeah. She talked to the doctors, not me, because I couldn't,
Right.
So
but they ended up going to a different
they
hospital.
went to the U because the ambulance people told me he'll either be at IMC or
The U.
the U. So I told her that. So they drove all the way up to IMC.
no way.
And then all of a sudden she looked on Find Friends, and his phone was still in Roosevelt
without service.
but his watch was on him. And so it flashed that he was at Utah Valley. Well, then right as she looked, it switched and went back to Roosevelt because the phone came back into service because Brock had the phone with him. So literally she had like a 5-second little window where she saw that he was at Utah Valley. It was just
Wow.
the timing. So that was another like really cool thing. So she was there when he was there. She got to go back and see him. and he was just bandaged up, like you couldn't see any part of him. But he told her, he's like, "I'll be okay. Don't worry, I'll be okay."
You told her that?
Yeah.
I don't know what I said. That's what she says. I said.
But it's like
Man.
so Alyssa kind of turned into the mom because I was a wreck. The boys were a wreck.
But even that night, there was one of our kids' friends. They were actually coming to the because there was a rodeo that night too, right? So we had some friends that were going to come and see the rodeo.
It's Mata shopping. Do you guys know that?
You know that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so anyways,
Yeah.
so their daughter Kira just like had this feeling like we've got to go. We've got to still go, and we got to see you. Like we have to still go. They drove all the way
To Roosevelt?
to Roosevelt.
And picked us up
And
because we
they're
were
like-
locked there because
They're like,
keys
you're
were in
coming
his
with us.
pockets.
And so they drove all the way. That's 3 hours,
Oh, yeah.
and then 3 hours back. You know,
Right.
And brought
they're
us
like,
home. Like,
How
see,
cool.
like where the all the good.
but
you
the
know?
feeling they
There's
had.
so many good
How did they
people.
have that feeling that like that's exactly what you needed?
Yeah.
Everything's just
'Cause
kind
I would
of
have been stuck in Roosevelt, and I needed to get to him. You know.
because you didn't have the car
Wow.
keys.
Yeah.
Because I had them.
I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How cool.
You guys, there's so many good people.
There
really
are.
are so many good people.
And I think right now we need to be reminded of it more than ever because I want to
Yeah.
beat everyone up that I see almost.
He-
I almost
Don't
He's
say
not
that because
kidding.
you're gonna have. Do you know what? Don't say that because then something bad will happen. So then all the people will be good to you, and then you're
I
gonna be
almost
like,
beat
"What
someone
was
up
I?"
2 weeks ago at a hockey game.
I
Oh,
put
dear.
money on
He
you
did-
though.
He deserved it. This guy deserved it. But I kept my cool. Oh. Anyway, sorry. Gotta settle down. Gotta settle down. But no, it's totally true. I think we're all so, I mean, you kind of saw it yesterday, right? Current events. Like,
Ugh.
it's a bad time to have hard things happen because I think everybody is just so over it.
Yep.
And so these are the types of things that we need to remember that because we aren't congregating. We're not. We don't have a lot of opportunity right now to remind ourselves that people are great and they're awesome and we need them. Like we need each other. We all need each other. And so stuff like this is, I mean, I know it's helped me just being able to hear this story. And man, there are so many incredible people out there, and people don't realize that just that small little thing is a big deal to people, like making dinner,
Yeah.
right? Like you hear about the EMTs and it's like, I just made dinner.
Yeah.
But hopefully them hearing you on this, if they do that, they can realize like, oh, I just made some lasagna for them, like whatever. But
Yeah.
Lift where you stand, right?
lift where you stand.
You guys, it's like that's what changed me too when I found out. This is so dumb, but like when I found out that my employees could carry on work without me, like I was like kind of offended first because I was like, wait, whoa, you did okay without me? But then I was like, oh my gosh,
I
this
guarantee they didn't have as much fun.
is that's right. No,
Both of our teams.
yeah, yeah, because he's
Yeah.
Where you lock them in the warehouse back there?
Yeah, exactly.
But so then it made me realize I'm like, Betty's at a point where financially now we can do something cool, like and help
Right.
somebody else. I'm like, that's what I want to go back. I want to just go back and be able to do some cool things. So we now are with Make-A-Wish. So we
No
do.
way.
We,
Very cool.
yeah, we do the wishes every month. So
She said, I'm not going to go back to the work like I used to. She's like, I'm going to go back to work and do some good for others.
that's what I wanted because people were good to me, And then I was like trying to think of, because people would send flowers and so sweet, send meals, so awesome. Like, but I'm like, what could I do? Like, what could Betty's do that people could send to give people, like if somebody's going through a hard time? I'm like, Betty's doesn't have any products that we could really send. So we are coming up with this. Nobody knows this.
Oh,
Top
really?
secret.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're just coming up with a blanket. And it has a little heart on it. And it's just like, you're sending, like, know that we're caring about you. So somebody who is out of state could send
So
something.
cool.
Because sometimes
And-
you don't know what to send, or you
Yeah.
don't know what
Just
to.
But
who
a
doesn't
blanket
love a
and
big
you
warm
can-
blanket?
Yeah, that you can like, it's like sending a hug from afar, I just
So
wanted something because
cool.
I'm like, so it did kind of change my way of thinking in business or like,
I wanted to ask that earlier. It's fun. I'm mad that I forgot, but how it changed your perspective on the business.
yeah.
I mean, because it would have to, right?
Yeah. My employees are unbelievable.
You have awesome employees. I had a lot of fun when I fed you
They're-
guys that day.
They're awesome.
Everyone mentioned my deep voice. I was feeling, I felt like a 7.5. And they're like, oh, there's that deep voice. I'm like, oh yeah. No, it was such a fun place, but yeah, I mean, how cool that now you
Yeah.
can kind of focus on
just other things and know that we can, like, it just made seeing all that good. I'm like, I want to be good now too. I want to help others now that I can, you know?
Yeah.
As if you weren't before.
No.
Come on, Betsy.
No.
She's always been giving.
You got the heart of gold.
Yeah, she does.
No.
But I mean, it's
But
cool.
thanks for saying that.
I mean, it is. I mean, what a great idea. And just to have those, I will say, like, I take it for granted too, because I'll do a lot of meals for people that are going through things, and I always love to help. But yeah, it's fun to be reminded, like, it's a big deal for people.
Yeah.
Totally.
You don't
Just
realize,
those little things.
like, people, I'm like, oh my gosh, they care about us. That was so cool, you know?
We all need that reminder.
Just little things too. Like, for example, EMT, it's a meal. It could have been just a hi or a call or a text. You know, all of those little acts of goodness,
Right.
they mean something and they add up, right?
They do.
You just don't know sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And I think, like, these stories, it's cool because we need to not forget that just small things matter. Like, even if
I think those are the big things,
right.
you know?
Because they add up. And it just shows that
They're doable.
everyone's going through, I'd say everyone's going through a hard time right now.
For sure.
So it maybe it even means more that you send a text or send a little video or, send a meal or something like that. And so if that's the one thing everybody gets out of this episode, like,
Perfect.
go out and do one nice thing. Like, just think of it.
Act on every good thought. How about that? You know?
You'll never regret it.
No.
You'll never regret it.
Like, just go send a text right now
Right.
to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, hey, just wanted to tell you hi and I love you. Or I'm thinking about you.
Yep.
It's important, especially right now with families arguing over politics. There's a small divide in my family. It's hilarious. Can I just tell a story really fast?
Yes.
I sent, I won't say who, but I have siblings on different sides of the aisle. We'll just say that. And they get a little heated.
Yeah.
So
It's weird. Politics.
the one side, it is weird, right? So the one side believes this, the other side believes that. So I sent a Biden chia pet to the Trump one.
Oh yeah.
And a Trump chia pet to the other one from each other.
Yes.
That's amazing. That had to
Totally
have
got
gone over
ruined.
well.
Amazon screwed it up because they didn't land on the same day. Like, I did it perfectly so they would land on the same day.
That's hilarious.
Oh, anyway, so the first one was all mad. Like, who the hell just did you really send this to me? And I'm not mentioning even gender, right? And that sibling's like, hell no, I didn't send that to you. And of course, they're immediate. I'm the oldest of 5. They both immediately like, it was Cameron. Because I try to be the voice of reason. But anyway, so yeah, it's a crazy time. And so I think us going out of our way, church does that, I think, for a lot of us. Like, church, it keeps it like we kind of know what's going on. Like, a lot of times, like in Sunday school, they'll just say sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so is dealing with this. Like, if we could all hop on the dinner schedule and help. But right now we don't have a whole lot of that.
Even just going into an office, some people don't even have the option of, going into work and catching up with people. So I love the challenge of just like send someone a text right now.
Right. Check in on some people.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be going through something to take them dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't.
Especially with DoorDash.
And a lot of times
Just
they
send them a
have
DoorDash.
something. A lot of times they have something that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And so when you
That's
have that like
100%
gut
true.
feeling, you've actually just, I don't know. I think it's like, deep down that they need that.
Right. Well, and like you said, like, even if they don't, it's still a great thing to do.
Yeah, don't do it with like an expected outcome. Like,
No.
do it just to do it.
Yes.
Like, and I think we should also talk about, I'm not 100%, so if you want to keep sending me stuff, I'm fine with that. No, I'm kidding. We're totally
these goat
We're
slippers that he
totally
wants.
covered.
I can't wait to see how many goat things show up at your house now. That is really funny. So where did you guys grow up again?
He was in Riverton. I was in South Jordan.
13.
I called her every day on a payphone at my school to her school's payphone.
Yeah.
What?
True
That's
story.
when they had payphones.
Yep.
Yeah.
This isn't even real.
It cost me a lot.
this is like
25 cents a day.
this has become like a movie at this point.
It's like you guys
After
were
the
like
plane
skipping
crash,
class to talk to each other
You
on
guys-
the
No,
phone.
no, we never would have skipped. Like, we're rule
Rule
followers.
followers. We
which
are
is
rule
so weird.
followers.
But I would just call before, and then when
I'd
the bell
always get
rings,
to school early, and he'd always get to school early, and he'd call me and just say hi.
That is freaking
free
adorable.
cell phones.
And then we got pagers, and then we would do
Oh.
17* 31707*1, and that spells I love you.
you, yeah.
You flip
And
it
you're like,
upside down.
911, why didn't you call me?
because you could only do numbers on pagers.
Maybe that's why you guys made it, because if you had cell phones, you'd talk way too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Text way
Then
too
I got,
much.
Oh, boy,
I got a cell phone my senior year, you guys. And the first incoming minute was free. I had 100 minutes on my plan, and I had well over like 2,000 minutes used. And he would call me, and then as soon as I'd hear the beep, I'd hang up. So we'd talk for
Oh,
so
my
long.
God.
But
We'd have really good conversations for like 55 seconds.
Perfect.
and then
Oh,
he'd have
man.
to call me back.
Yeah, kids don't realize we all had minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, we didn't even have I didn't have a cell phone in high school, but
I did the payphone thing, like to get home from basketball practice. I do call collect.
Yep.
And instead of
Come
my
get me.
name, come get me.
yeah. Totally what I
That
did.
is such a classic.
That's
God,
how I
things have
get home.
changed so much.
They don't even know how hard we had.
Don't.
hard.
We did, but it was better,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You imagine having to grow up with social media?
It'd be hard.
Just could not do it. So yeah, what a cool. How old were you guys when you got married?
19?
No, you were 20.
Oh, I was?
Yeah,
Oh.
I was 18.
Holy crap! Your parents were all good with that. Like everyone.
No, they were. My mom was so worried.
Even after dating
I
for
think
7
they
or 8
saw it
years?
coming.
The thing is because he didn't go on a mission, so they're like, "Are you sure you're taking the opportunity away from him?" I'm like,
And I knew if I went, I'd never see her again.
I was
So it's
gonna-
like, it was, so I just had to pull the trigger.
you are the goat. Dude. That's pretty smart.
And I was scared to be sent somewhere.
That worked out.
There was
That was a
lot of
win-win.
anxiety, but I think it worked out fine.
"Yeah,
Well, thank you
What
guys
a
so much for
story.
coming
thank
back.
you."
This was awesome.
I feel like we need to do a romantic third episode, like where we get the whole.
Yeah, there's just
It needs, to be,
Sorry.
it needs to be like a coaching. Like this is how you do it.
But listen, I don't want my kids to be like thinking they found their spouse at 13.
Yeah, it's true."
What's that movie? The greatest line where the teenager's like, "You're a murderer of love." What is that movie? Do you know what I'm talking
I know the
about?
I think
quote.
that's the Notebook.
What? Dan in real life. That's what it is. Oh, that part cracks me up. Because, I mean, what's funny about your story is, so many, well, I will say girls mostly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Girls just have a higher capacity of love. Like they fall in love earlier. Like, you're not in love. You're 14 years old.
Like Taya might have met her husband.
No, she didn't. But with yours, it's true.
Yeah,
Like
it's
if your
crazy.
kid, like if one of your boys came home and said, "I met my wife," you guys have to shut up. You can't say anything.
So
yeah,
true.
it's true.
You'd be
That is
total
true.
hypocrites. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
You're amazing people, both of you. I'm glad we finally got
Well.
to meet I finally got to meet the goat
Hopefully I didn't
in
disappoint.
real life. You didn't, and I knew you wouldn't. So
Thanks, you guys.